My very first dreams in life were to simply get away from the people who told me I couldn't. Some of my high school teachers, my parents, friends, some of the people who were supposed to be guiding me in life.
So it sounds like Casey Neistat experienced some childhood trauma. And I think if we're all honest, most of us have childhood trauma. Today we're going to have a therapy session with Casey Neistat. Hi, I'm Megan, an actual licensed therapist, and welcome to Subscriber Therapy. I started this channel to get to know some of our favorite YouTube stars and celebrities and to explore their mental health, their backgrounds, their struggles that they have in their lives, because so many of us actually have faced very similar challenges. And hopefully this video might make you feel a little bit more comfortable about talking to a therapist, because we need real people to talk to and not just another video to watch. But be sure you watch my videos and hit the like button, the subscribe button, whatever else buttons there are. There's a notification bell that you need to smash. This will be my very first Casey Neistat video to watch. I know he's a big time YouTube star. But anyway, without further ado, let's watch Casey's video.
I've only ever had one mission in life, and that mission has been to simply realize the promises I made to myself when I was a kid.
That's pretty cool. And what's kind of that saying? You learned everything you need to know by the time you were in kindergarten. So maybe there's some truth to that.
When you're a kid, you're always telling yourself, when I'm an adult, I'm gonna do this. When I don't have to listen to my parents, I'm gonna do that. Someday, I'm gonna grow up and do...
I want to be an astronaut.
See, those goals, those ambitions, my very first dreams in life were to simply get away from the people who told me I couldn't. Some of my high school teachers, my parents, friends, some of the people who were supposed to be guiding me in life.
So it sounds like Casey Neistat experienced some childhood trauma. And I think if we're all honest, most of us have childhood trauma. Some of us can be kind of defined by our traumas, doing our life out of survival mode, which usually doesn't lead to satisfaction or to overall health and wellness. But it sounds like Casey really took those traumas and the hardships that he had and was motivated by them, used those as the catalyst to change himself and to kind of define his future.
The people who made a kid feel small because he was different, that was the world that it felt like I grew up in, and my goal was to get away from that.
And I think a lot of the artistic, creative types might identify as feeling different. A lot of us don't fit that mainstream mold. And as a kiddo, that can be really terrible because you just want to be included. You just want to be cool, part of the group, or at least if you're not going to be cool, at least like not made waves, not made fun of, just kind of get through your day and exist. It's really hard if you're kind of the one who's made fun of or you're being bullied. It shouldn't happen. We should protect our kiddos, but as we all know, a lot of us had hardships related to childhood.
And the answer to that was simple. The answer was to go to the place where you could be anything you wanted to be, to go to an island where all the misfits in this world go to, and that place was New York City.
There's a lot of B-roll.
New York City is a place where you can do anything and be anything, because everyone is too damn busy to worry about what anyone else is doing.
And you may be able to do anything, be anybody in New York City, but I can assure you there are a lot of sad, maladjusted, depressed people in New York. Just because you relocate doesn't mean you aren't taking your problems with you.
For all the romantic notions of moving to New York City, all of which were true, it also meant not getting to be the father that I wanted to be. Daddy, how come I don't get to see you as much as I want to see you? Are you gonna pick me up from school this week, or do I have to wait till next week? That was tough.
So Casey Neistat was 17 years old when his oldest son was born. And that's always interesting when teenagers have children. You know, back in caveman days, we were designed to start reproducing in our teenage years because most of us would have been dead by like 35. Now, most of us probably don't want kids until mid to late 20s to, you know, early 40s.
In this part of the story, younger Casey wasn't Casey the little kid, but younger Casey was now, 20-year-old Casey who lived in New York City, which was the coolest, but lived a pretty life in New York City, making $10 an hour and not being able to spend the time with my kid that a good father should be spending with this kid.
When you have a kid as a teenager, you're not a full-fledged adult, right? Your brain's still underdeveloped. You're still learning who you are. It's kind of a disruption to your own development. And I think that's something that teenage parents, or even kind of young parents, if you have a kid in college, you have to weigh out is what's in the long term going to be the best for myself and my kid. And that's not an easy decision to decide, hey, do I do me and move to New York and try to, create this life that I dream about? That's not a right or wrong decision. That's one of those somewhere in the middle gray areas where you're going to have to do a lot of soul searching and reflection to decide what's going to be best for you and your family.
And out of that came all these new dreams. And these new dreams and aspirations were a little bit less selfish. They were less about me. They were things like wanting to have a house to raise my kid in. That's a big dream. That's a dream for a lot of people. It's a big dream for me. Another one was I never got to go to college. And I had a goal that if my son ever got to go to college, no matter what that school was, that I would figure out how to pay for it for him. Those were my new dreams.
So it seems like Casey moving to New York and, kind of working dead-end menial jobs, he continued to search his soul to say, hey, what is it? Kind of re-examine himself. And I liked his evolution from that kind of egocentric, it's all about me, which is how most of us are as teenagers, to recognizing that, hey, this is actually about my son. And how can I give him a life that he deserves and maybe a life that I didn't have? So I think he's showing that he met developmental milestones, that transition from teenage years to early adulthood.
And then 5-6 years ago, I started figuring shit out and I started making money and I started making it. And when he was applying to colleges 3 years ago, his only concern was getting in, not figuring out how to pay for it.
And so I think it's awesome that Casey was able to create a life and, the income that allowed his kiddo, Owen, to basically go to the college that he wanted to. Money's not an issue now. That doesn't mean, though, that Owen's childhood was not without some what I would call attachment wounding, with not having your dad there physically present for you. But just because your dad goes off to New York and is one of the maybe relatively few success stories doesn't mean that life is all flowers and butterflies and unicorns. And I hope that Casey and Owen have worked through some of those issues, at least talk about them, maybe gone to therapy themselves, because there can still be a lot of hurt and pain connected to what occurred in Owen's childhood.
I might get to realize a whole new wave of promises that I made to myself when I was struggling to be the dad that I wanted to be for him when I had kids again in the future.
That was a nice little montage of, I guess, Casey's second daughter being welcomed into the world, and Owen and then the older sister all cozying up with the little baby. So it does appear that the family pretty close, gets along well, and that Owen feels included. A lot of times family dynamics don't look like that with a blended family. Seems like they maybe have done some work and are doing their best to have a healthy, functioning family.
Even in the last couple years, when you were there, this audience was there, when I was daily vlogging, I was finding success and promises realized that I could have never imagined. But the expense then was I was never present. I was home with my kids every night, but I was thinking about work.
So I think Casey is hitting the nail on the head in terms of presence, the importance of truly being present, even if you're not a YouTube sensation like he is. So many of us, myself included, are addicted to our phones, to social media. It literally is an addiction. It affects our brains, very similar to substance abuse. When you're on your phone, when that's at the forefront of your mind, you're not being present for the people in your lives, for your friends, your family, even like your pets, right? You got to have that balance. Daily vlogging, it might be a way to build YouTube success. I don't think it's mentally healthy. I know how much time it takes to create videos, to do the editing and the post-production stuff, and it's all consuming if that's what you're trying to do on a daily basis. I'm not saying, no one should do it, but you need to know what you're getting yourself into and really weigh the consequences. Is this what I need to further my career? How's it going to impact my personal relationships? And if you've got kids or significant other in your life, you need to be having dialogue about how this is impacting your relationship, and have some time away from screens and from the video, especially if you've got kiddos, to focus on them. They need you for many different reasons, and they need you to be present, not just going through the motions.
If I had to pinpoint the promises that I'm currently working to realize, is to be a person who operates not out of ego, but someone who operates with a priority to connect with and be kind to and love, and to be better to the people around me.
Sounds like Casey's recognizing the importance of acting with intention. So Casey, I know you're not watching, but just in case you are, and for those of you who are watching, I hope you found this video helpful. Good job, Casey, for being vulnerable with it and getting the support from your friends and family. I know you literally have like 11.5 million people who are supporting you. That's an awesome feeling, but hopefully you've also got real people, which I think you do from that video. It seems like a really strong family to lean upon when we go through hard times. If this video was helpful for you, please give it a thumbs up, hit that thumbs up button, and subscribe. It helps me, it helps other people like you find this video. Trying to make YouTube happy, right? And I'd love to hear what you have to say. Please watch again. Hope to see you next time on the next episode of Subscriber Therapy. If you've seen a video of one of your favorite YouTube stars or celebrities open up about their personal life and would like to sit in on a therapy session, please let me know in the comments or send me a message on Insta, and maybe that can be an upcoming episode of Subscriber Therapy.